I was down at management's house, gotta shake hands, gotta kiss babies, and I was watching the Clemson game with capital M management, and Clemson wins the game 41-10. Now, what I could have done is I could have just taken the night off and I could have looked at the box score, right? And I think some of you may have done that. It was Labor Day, so you had things to do, and maybe this wasn't appointment viewing for you. Shame on you, though, if you didn't go back, because I think the box score may tell just a little different story than what your eyeballs told you. So you need to watch this one, or at the very least pay attention for the next 5 or so minutes. What does 41-10 sound like? Sounds like Clemson kind of walked in Mercedes-Benz Stadium and yawned their way to a victory and just ground Georgia Tech into a pulp. And at the end of the day, that's what the scoreboard looks like. That's not what the box score says. That's not what your eyes probably told you. What did it feel like? Most of you did watch the game. What did it feel like to you when it was scoreless in the second quarter? When Clemson was laboring mightily offensively well into the third quarter? When it was a one-possession game and Georgia Tech had the ball, looked like they could take the lead? Seems like a long time ago. In fact, I was saying that sentence by the end of my drive home last night. Let's paper pop this thing together and let's talk about what we saw last night. I was trying to search for the words to accurately describe my feel about the Clemson quarterback situation, because that's all anyone's talking about today, and I don't want to beat a dead horse here. I've already given you my feel on the whole DJ Uiagalelei and Cade Klubnik dynamic, and it hasn't changed from last night. I still think ultimately Klubnik's going to be the guy. I think if anything, last night, even in a 41-10 victory, even my Clemson buddies who love DJ, there's no reason not to love him. I'm going to talk about that in a second. It's really tough on Dabo Swinney right now because of that. Even the ones who love him. Did you not see it? You've heard the rumors out of spring practice. You watched the spring game. You've heard the rumors out of fall camp. But finally, if you didn't believe me or anyone else, you saw it last night. And you know what I had to do? I had to go to 1980s country lyricism to really sum up my views on this. Quote from the great Tanya Tucker: "If it don't come easy, you better let it go, because when it don't come easy, there's no natural flow." You can watch DJ Uiagalelei all you want to. I think he's an improved quarterback from last year. Let me put that out there before we offer any mild criticism. He has worked his tail off. He has lost weight. He is a better player. That's not what the conversation's about. The conversation very clearly is about one thing and one thing only. Which guy gives Clemson the best chance to win? And when Cade Klubnik came in, even in a blowout, that's countered by the fact that he was playing with a bunch of backups around him. Did you just notice how easy it came? And did you notice relative to how it feels with one guy in the game, how different it felt when the other guy came in the game? This is not the first time we've seen this. Now, at Clemson, maybe. Actually, not even at Clemson. There was that whole Kelly Bryant dynamic back in the day. But we've seen this with team-to-team dynamics at quarterback where one guy's in and it's just, you could see a path where if he does this, this, and this, and everything works out perfectly and he threads the needle on every throw, he'll be great. And then the other guy just comes in and it just happens. It just flows. It's like salmon swimming upstream versus just letting go and letting that river take you wherever. That's kind of what it felt like to me when Cade Klubnik came in. Now, this is going to be a difficult thing. Doesn't have to be a decision that's made overnight. In fact, I don't think there's a decision being made right now because the coaching staff was adamant after the game, DJ's our starting quarterback. I probably would have said the same thing, but we all saw what happened last night, and they're seeing what happens in practice, but this is not an easy job. See, Dabo Swinney is ultimately the guy that's got to make this call. It's not an easy job for Dabo. Everybody, including me, can sit here and talk about what they'd do. Well, we don't have national championship rings on our hands. You know, we got to pay for tickets or we got to get credentialed to go stand on the sideline for a reason. It's because we're not the most qualified to make this call. We don't see what Dabo Swinney sees at practice. Now, here's the follow-up to that. He's got one responsibility, and that's to his team, his locker room, and his staff to make the best decision for the betterment of Clemson football. And it gets really difficult because he knows how good a kid DJ Uiagalelei is. It'd be one thing if he was a character concern and through his own neck-up irresponsibility wasn't locking down the job. It's none of that. By all accounts, he's a great kid, and he's done everything they've asked him to do. So put yourself in Dabo's shoes for a second. You've got that, and you got a kid doing everything you've asked him to do, and he has improved. But then you've also got this other guy. Now, unlike us, Dabo sees Cade Klubnik at practice. So he sees the mistakes he makes too. We don't see that. You know, we saw him come in limited time last night, and we've heard rumors and whispers about him, and we saw him dice up people in high school. So there's really no negative in our mind. We haven't seen any negative with Cade Klubnik. We can imagine it's there, but we haven't seen it. Well, Dabo sees it. He sees his starter doing everything he's been asked to do, and he also is not immune, is Dabo Swinney, to hearing the outside noise. He would lie to you if he was here right now, and he would say he doesn't pay attention to it and he doesn't hear it. It would be just that, a lie. Every coach is lying when they tell you that. They're all aware. Whether they pay a lot of attention to it or not, they're all aware. And Dabo and his coaching staff, they're aware. That's why they keep referencing it so much. They get asked about it constantly. They're aware. The streets are talking. They're aware of that. And it sometimes can make you default into an adversarial mode. You've been in that position in your life before. If you're neutral on something and a bunch of folks that maybe you like or don't like all say one thing, you just default yourself over to the other side for the heck of it. And in this case, not only is it just for the heck of it, he happens to really, really like his starting quarterback, and he's improved and yada, yada, yada. We've already gone through that. So it's not going to be the easiest of calls, and it doesn't have to be made right away. They've got Furman, and they've got Louisiana Tech coming up. But I think ultimately, when you look at this receiver core, it is not vintage Clemson from a few years ago. See, DJ probably be fine. They could probably get by with him and pencil him into an ACC championship game right now if they had that wide receiver stable of yesteryear, because there were just a bunch of racehorses, and you could stretch the field vertically with him, and he has no problem doing that. It's the intermediate game. It's trusting your quarterback to throw the ball over the middle of the field on 3rd and 7 a few times per game. I just don't think they're there with him. And I don't know that they will be there with Cade Klubnik. I'm just telling you from any kind of intel we've gotten, from gut feel, and then from the very limited view we had last night, I ultimately think he's going to be the guy there. And here's the tell. Although this is not always the best tell, but if you were to ask opposing fan bases in the ACC, who would you rather see starting at Clemson the rest of the year? I guarantee you their answer would be the guy who started last night. Now, that doesn't always mean everything. I don't think it means nothing, though. I think it means a lot of folks are starting to come to the realization that that guy that was standing on the sideline last night, albeit with his helmet on, but standing on the sideline, that is a really, really good quarterback. The whole not a matter of if, but when type deal feels like it's in the Clemson quarterback room at the moment. Guys, thanks for watching Late Kick. Make sure and leave a comment. I love interacting with you. But most of all, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. That's how we keep all of this free.